Hey and welcome everyone, it's Egwin here. Today we're talking about the one big question that I get asked on a regular day basis. What is beyond systems? When you watch the beginning of this video, you've seen that the tagline of Beyond Systems is creating foundations and expanding horizons. Now in the next couple of minutes, I want to give you an idea of what this really means and what I do with Beyond Systems or within the realm of Beyond Systems. First of all, the most simplest way to describe it is to say Beyond Systems is a system-free approach to the development of movement and personal and spiritual development. So basically, a system-free approach to understanding your body, how it works, how your mind, how your emotions work, how your consciousness works, and how all of those things are actually interlinked with each other. Beyond Systems is not a modality in itself. It is not a system in itself. It's rather a space, an open area, an open realm that creates experiences, sometimes highly individualized experiences, to make this understanding of one's own physique, this understanding of one's own body, mind, consciousness, how they interact, actually palpable and experiential rather than something in the realm of belief. It's really important for me that whatever we do, whatever we work with is something that is understood, because I strongly believe and have experienced on my own actually that whenever we just have a mental concept, it's rather difficult to work with that, because it's still sometimes doubt sort of creeps up on us. But once we have an experience with something, a real physical experience, or at least an experience that translates into our body from maybe a physical, maybe an emotional, maybe a mental, maybe an energetic part of our expression and interaction, once we have this experience, we are way more connected with this principle, with what we have seen, what we have learned, and henceforth can also much more easily work with that. Which brings me to the next thing. Beyond Systems is a lot about creating freedom. Beyond Systems is really about giving people the tools in their hands so they can give themselves the freedom in personal development that they deserve, rather than constantly being dependent on the next therapist or this or that. And don't get me wrong when I say this, there is a place for help, there is a place for guides, there is a help for this support that we get from outside. It's really important. There is a place for doctors, for therapists, and all of that. But on the other hand, I also really think that every single person has a huge capacity to personal freedom and to being able to work from a space of personal empowerment towards where they really want to go. And this is exactly what Beyond Systems is all about. Now let me quickly explain to you how I see life and how I see Beyond Systems within that, how it fits in there, what it describes, and what this creating foundation and expanding horizons actually mean. Now, I always like to draw life as sort of an open space. Let's call everything that's between those two lines life. And then we have the foundations down here. And then we have the potential up here. Most people, they live, they express themselves, and they just pass all their time they have within this central part, within what they consider to be life. Now, this is not an absolute diagram, meaning for every single person, life might be a broader or less broad spectrum. For some people, life simply consists of living in one city, going to the same job every single day for 40 plus years, and then retire in that very same city. For some other people, life, just speaking of the geographics and demographics of it, might be much more open. They might live in different cities, maybe even different continents. Their life might be literally a dance between different jobs, different opportunities, different interactions with other people. So their life might be, just speaking of this specific aspect of it, a lot wider. For some people, life simply is wrapped around specific movement patterns that they repeat over and over and over again every single day. And some other people might use way more different movement systems, movement patterns. Some might never do sport. Some might do a lot of sport, try out literally everything that they can get their hands on when it comes to using their physical body. Some might not just use their physical body. They might also do meditation and try to tap into the realm of the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, emotions, energies, and so on and so on. So life, like I draw it here, this is really an individual element. What is your life currently, right now? And then the thing comes, when you expose yourself to certain aspects, certain systems or modalities, say you want to start with Qigong or with meditation or with yoga, whatever it might be. Now, let's say there is a system here that you start to do in your life, and let's call it Q. This is one system that you start to train. You incorporate this into your life. Through training this one system, you might gain access to some elements that might seem rather rudimentary, fundamental even to you. And this might bring you to an opening towards part of your potential. Then maybe someday later you come across a different system. Again, you start to practice this system within the realm of your life. Eventually, maybe seeing that this system as well teaches you something about foundation. And it might open you up to another part of what might be your personal potential. What I try to explain here is, whatever we do within our life, whatever elements we pull into it has a lot to do with how we actually live this life. The things we attract have a lot to do with what we do, obviously. The things that we practice, how we practice them, and how much of the foundations of those things we explore, how much of the potential that lies within those systems we actually use. This is something that has a lot to do with this framework of life. In order to unlock this potential part, we always need to understand a little bit more of our foundations. Now, we can draw a couple of more systems in there, whatever they might be, and it's not a judgment about them at all. We can put yoga in here, we can put Pilates in there, we can put Alexander technique in there, we can put biosynthesis in there, we can put Feldenkrais in there, we can put martial arts in there, we can put dance in there, and so on and so on. And then eventually we'll have a lot of different modalities that live sort of next to each other. What is beyond systems? Beyond systems is creating foundations and expanding horizons all the way up to the full potential. What does this mean? This means that I work by using, let's put another system here, let's put another one here. I'm using fundamental principles of different modalities. Maybe some that you have not explored yet. Not to teach another system within the framework of life, but to teach about the foundations on which every single system you can possibly train is based. It's about creating experiences that help you to unlock an understanding of the very foundation on which everything in your body, in your mind, in your consciousness is based. And from that broad foundation, this literally opens you up to exploring your potential in a completely different way. Rather than being based within the narrow confinements of one specific system, some of those systems might have more narrow confinements than others. You literally go one step closer to the origin. Every single mental idea, every single religion out there, every single philosophy out there is a relatively complicated way, a systematized way of describing some small chosen elements from a much, much larger foundation. Beyond systems is not a modality in itself. Beyond systems is a way of utilizing the possibility of experience in such a way that an immediate, intuitive, as well as far as it's possible, intellectual understanding of foundations can be achieved. What's some of the foundations of how my body works? To use something extremely simple would be an agonist-antagonistic principle in my muscles. Yes, this is one fundamental element of how we work. When we go more into the structural elements, well, where does biochemistry or bioelectricity actually originate from? Partially from substances that we eat, partially from the electromagnetic field of the earth, partially because our bones are piezoelectric, and so on and so on. Why could that be important? What could be the foundation of emotions, physically speaking? Physically speaking, our emotions are pulsational and intercommunicational, cellular intercommunicational patterns that eventually, in a couple of stages of interactions in our body that run on the subconscious level, a couple of interactions later actually pop into our mind and are interpreted by our mind as fun, joy, happiness, depression, anxiety, love, and so on. This knowledge of foundations actually helps you to create solutions. Rather than trying a modality that has a lot of philosophical elements to it that developed over time and that are literally subject to change and interpretation. Beyond Systems tries to make you understand foundations in your speed, those foundations that are relevant to you, to your life, and that enable you to actually take it to the next step and unlock your potential to govern your emotions, unlock your potential to remembering things better, unlock your potential to be more creative, to be more healthy, to tune into how the body, the mind, all of those things work together, and being able to tune into your health status at every given moment. That's what Beyond Systems is all about. It's about creating foundations in an experiential and immediately recognizable way, and then creating the possibility to expand beyond the horizon of your current life automatically through understanding those foundations. Because once you understand things at their foundation, all those domino stones, they all fall into place really quickly. There is no questions anymore. It's just answers, solutions, possibilities. This is Beyond Systems, not a modality, a space for experience, to learn, to express, to understand, and to build one's own understanding and one's own freedom and capacity beyond narrow frameworks, no matter what they might be. All right, I'm gonna leave it like that for now. There would be much more to be said. However, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this gives you a better understanding of what Beyond Systems really is, what it really does. Maybe if you're interested, comment down below. I'll put out some more videos to give you an actual idea what I mean by all of this. Like using physical exercises that you can do immediately back home to actually get a physical understanding of what I explained intellectually right now. So this is why the question, what is Beyond Systems, is so hard to answer. Because the more I try to put words to it, the more complex it becomes, which doesn't make it any more true or working, but it just makes it so complex, and it's not necessary to make it that complex. Just try some things out, and then you'll see, you immediately understand what I'm talking about. That's to come in maybe some of the next videos. Comment down below if you would be interested in that. And yeah, thanks for watching. Have a wonderful time. See you around. Thank you.